the research publication accessibility. The goal of any researcher is to publish the findings in a platform available from a particular publisher or from your journal. So whenever we are publishing a paper, we have a choice to decide whether our publication should be open for the entire world, or it should be restricted to a certain people who have an access. Whenever you are selecting a publisher, under the publisher you will have different types of journal. There are few journals will have option of going for an open publication, or you can go for a closed publication. When it is open publication, from that particular journal, your particular paper can be accessed by anyone without any kind of restriction. But when you're going for a closed publication, it can be accessed only by the people who have a subscription or a permission to access your paper. So if you want your paper to be accessed by the people, read by the people, cite your work, it is most likely possible through open access publishing. But if you're someone who is not worried about the accessibility, you just want to publish your paper and choose a closed access option, you also can do that. So in this session, we'll be understanding the concept of open access publishing, and also you'll be understanding the concept of research publication accessibility. As a researcher, apart from understanding the various problems which are there in the industry, we also should have a thorough understanding on various research conducted by the researcher in our area, so that we will know what are the various research which was conducted, what was the methodology they have used, what are the various limitations of their study, what are the various recommendations they have given in their future research directions. Everything can be done when we have access to the research publications done by various authors. It is practically not possible for us to go to a particular publisher and select the journal and go and screen each and every paper. That is where the concept of the journal access comes into picture. That is going to be detailedly covered in this particular research publication accessibility topic. Without any further delay, let us kickstart what are going to be the learning topics of today's session. Today's session will be discussing about open access publication and initiatives. We'll be discussing about Sherpa Romeo online resources to check a publisher copyright and self-archiving policies. As you all know that there are different types of publishers are there. There are different types of journals are there. So it is practically not possible for a researcher to go to each and every publisher, to go to each and every journal to check their policy related to the copyright or self-archiving policies. So this platform, Sherpa and Romeo, provides us a one-point access where we are able to know various details related to how the journals are actually publishing the paper and what are their self-archiving policies or existing in the respective journals. And also we'll be discussing about some of the software tools to identify predatory publications. There are various tools which are available for you. For example, even if you look at Sherpa and Romeo, this is one of the software tool where you can able to enter the ISSN number of a particular journal and see whether the particular journal is featuring under Sherpa or Romeo. You'll able to know the credibility of the journal. There are a lot of times what happens, people will be claiming some fancy journal name and they'll be claiming with unimaginable impact factor. But when you critically review and analyze, such journal also maybe belong to your predatory category. So we'll be understanding what are the various software which are available to identify predatory publications, and also you will be able to know the software which is available for a journal finder or a journal suggester, which includes Jane or Elsevier journal finder or Springer journal suggester. So every journal, every publisher, I would say, every publisher have their software where you will able to identify various journals which are under that publisher easily by using the finder or a suggester software maintained by a particular publisher. So what are the terminologies which is supposed to be known to all of us in order to understand this particular learning unit? First, we have to know what is meant by open access. The meaning what have given here is anyone across the globe can access without any restriction. That is called as open access. It is not something which is closed. It's not something restricted. It's not something which requires permission to use it. Let us understand the concept of open access publication. Any research publication that is published by an author or a journal or a publisher, and the database providing access to the reader or the researcher across the globe without any restriction is called as open access publication. As a author, even if you are selecting a particular journal which publishes closed access research paper, you also can check with the journal whether they have open access publication. So from the author end, you also have a choice whether to go for an open access publication or whether you want to go for a closed access publication. And there are few journals purely runs for not for profit. Such journals usually they used to select for open access publication because they do not earn anything out of charging certain subscription charges for the people to access the research reports which are available under the journal. And also there are different publishers who have their own policy. One thing which you need to remember at this stage is open access means something which is not having any kind of restriction for anyone to access the research publications. It could be the research paper, or it could be the conference paper, or a chapter in an edited book, or a book where they can able to access, view the full paper, read the paper, and then they can cite the paper. That helps the people to enhance their knowledge on various research which is conducted in the past. I'm sure all of you must have understood about the term open access and open access publication. Let us understand the concept of a Sherpa and a Romeo before we will be discussing in detail in the upcoming slide. The full form of a Sherpa is securing a hybrid environment for research, preservation, and access. And it's an organization which was originally set up in the year 2002 to run and manage the Sherpa projects. As I mentioned earlier, we have different publisher, we have different journals under the publishers. It is very important for the researcher who have limitation with regards to the time, money, and energy to get a platform where they will get to understand what are the various copyright policies, what are the various accessibility policies which are maintained by various publishers and journal under one single platform. That is provided under Sherpa. And the Romeo is one of the improvised version, which is also again part of this beautiful platform, which stands for Rights Metadata for Open Archiving. Previously, they had used color coding in order to classify publishers based on their self-archiving policy. When I had browsed in the Sherpa and Romeo website, I found that color coding is not being followed because it was very complex. It was very confusing for the viewers to understand about various archiving as well as copyright-related policies maintained by the journals. This Romeo helps us to understand whether the journal allows for a preprint or a postprint based on their archiving policy, based on the copyright transfer agreements. So the thing what is supposed to be remembered now is you need to remember the full form of Sherpa, which is securing a hybrid environment for research, preservation, and access. And also you should be able to remember the full form of Romeo, which is rights metadata for open archiving. Let us understand the further terminologies which is going to be covered as part of this learning unit. We need to know what is meant by predatory. Predatory is something which is inclined or intent to injure or exploit others for the personal gain or the profit. We can apply this particular meaning to the predatory publications. Any author or a researcher or a journal or a publishers involved in publication of any research paper that is not matching with any kind of quality standard without a proper peer review is considered as a predatory publications. I'm sure all of you would be knowing about and publication within 24 hours your research paper it gets published in your journal. So what is the use of going for this predatory publication when we know that this publication are not going to be considered as valuable by any of the stakeholders, be it in your university or be it the other researchers also may not be actually like citing the papers which are published in the predatory publication. So it's very important for us to refrain from any kind of predatory publications in order to ensure that our quality of the research is well checked by the peer reviewer. There are sufficient revisions carried out, and it is published in a more structured way, meeting all the quality and the protocols, which will help us to actually have the significant impact of our publications. So predatory publications are any journal or the author or the researcher or the publishers who are involving in publishing any research paper which are substandard in nature. Let us understand the concept of a journal finder. A journal finder actually helps the readers and the researcher to search, select, and access the research publication that were published by journal using the journal finder. For example, if you have Elsevier, let's take a Springer. Elsevier and Springer are publishers under which there are different journals are there. So using that journal finder, or a suggested, you will be able to know what are the various publications which are there, what are the various journals are there, what are the various topics which are published using one single platform. The example what I have mentioned earlier as well, you have journal and author name estimator, you have Elsevier, you have Springer Journal Suggester. These platforms will help you to reduce your time in order to search the author, in order to search a particular research paper, in order to locate a particular journal which are there under a publisher. When you look at Jane and Elsevier and Springer, Jane provides information about various publishers as well as various journals, whereas the Elsevier and Springer are mainly restricted with their own journals which are published under this publisher. Let us understand what is considered as a open access publication. This is one of the definition which is given by UNESCO. A publication is considered as open access if its content is universally and freely accessible at a no cost to the reader via the internet or otherwise. As I mentioned earlier, if you are going for an open access publication, anyone across the globe, in a click of a button, they can able to view the paper, download the paper, and then they can able to use the paper. They don't need to spend even a single penny. The author or a copyright owner irrevocably grants to all users for an unlimited period the right to use, copy, distribute the article on the condition that proper attribution is given. When we say proper attribution, if Sudhakar has published a paper and under open access, and if you are a reader, if you are reading my paper, yes, you can read my paper and you can use the information given in my paper in a proper way, but you will have to ensure that you are referring my name, you are providing a citation, you are providing a reference that such information is taken from my paper. That is called as proper attribution is given for the for any of the publication information taken by a particular researcher. It is deposited immediately in full and in suitable electronic form in at least one widely and internationally recognized open access repository committed to open access. For example, DOAJ, or if you look at Sherpa or Romeo, Sherpa and Romeo will have only the details. Once you are accessing it, it will tell you about the open access policy which is maintained by the journal, but platform including the journals or the publisher, we will have option where you can able to choose which are the paper under open access, which are the paper which are under closed access. So you as a researcher can able to easily select this option and read, download, and use the paper which are published under open access. I hope all of you now understood the process of what is considered as a open access publication. As I mentioned earlier, Sherpa and Romeo are one single platform which provides information about the copyright, archiving policies, and other related information maintained by a particular journal. As I mentioned here earlier, you have different publishers. Under publishers, you have different journals. Every journal will have a journal title, and also you will have ISSN number. ISSN is International Standard Serial Number. Using the number, you will be able to understand what the journal is all about, you'll able to know all the details about the journal. So when you're using Sherpa Romeo, all you have to do is you will have to just enter the correct title or the ISSN number. The moment you enter the ISS number, it will provide all the details with regards to the copyright, archiving policy, publication policy of the journal. Sherpa Romeo is an online resource that aggregates and analyzes publishers' open access policies from across the world and provides summary of a publishers' copyright and open access archiving policies on journal by journal basis. All right. If you ask me, Sudhagar, whether all the publishers and all the journals will be part of Sherpa, no, Sherpa actually selects quality publishers, quality journals, only such journals which are matching through to the standard of Sherpa are actually provided under this platform. Sherpa Romeo is an online service that aggregates and presents publisher journal open access policies from around the world. I've already mentioned this is going to be highly useful for researchers, repository staff, and the research support team across the world to help users understand complex publishers and journal open access policies under one single platform. And I also come across the one statement which is mentioned in the Sherpa: all of the information provided by the service is correct to the best of their knowledge and should not be relied upon for legal advice. So they are trying their level best to link the publisher and the journals under Sherpa platform, but you will have to double check, triple check to ensure that you are selecting the genuine publisher, genuine journal before even accessing any set of information related to the publisher and the journal. I hope all of you have understood the basic concept of what the Sherpa is all about. Let us understand some of the terminologies which are essential for all the researchers to know about while using the Sherpa and Romeo. As I mentioned earlier, the color coding pattern, what they have followed earlier, is discontinued because it was very complex and confusing for the people. Now they have a different terminologies which will be indicated while providing the search of a particular journal title or the ISSN number with regards to the copyright, with regards to the archiving, with regards to the printing policies or the open access. Their publication, for example, ResearchGate or academia.edu. For example, if Sudhagar is a researcher and if he has published a conference paper, but if I have an opportunity, I have the permission to update my conference publication apart from being published in a particular research journal or a chapter in an edited book or in a book. I can able to update this paper in a ResearchGate or academia.edu. So people, apart from accessing my paper in the research journal or chapter in the edited book or in the book, they also can able to access the paper through ResearchGate or academia. Again, for this, the journal should be actually providing a permission in order to do the task of depositing your publication in such repositories so that people can actually access your paper and make use of the paper and cite your paper in the research publication. I hope all of you understood the concept of ResearchGate and academia.edu. You can create your ResearchGate profile. You can able to create also your academia.edu profile, and you can able to follow various researchers who are working in your institution level, who are working across the globe. And if there are any publications which are matching with your research area, and if you want, you can very well request the researcher to share to you in order to use their research publication in your research. So ResearchGate or academia.edu provides access to some of the papers which are already deposited by the researcher in this platform. And in case if there is no publications which are available under ResearchGate or academia, you just have the details about the paper. You can actually email, or you can use this ResearchGate or Academia edu platform itself and request them to give you the full publication. Number two terminology which all of you should know will be article processing charge, a fee which is charged to the author to publish in an open access journal, also known as publication fee or article processing fee. For example, if I want to publish a particular paper in Elsevier and its journal, usually the journal has two options, as I mentioned earlier. You can either go for a closed access or you can go for an open access. But whenever you're going for an open access, the journal will be charging you a publication fee because there is a time, money, and energy they have spent in order to make your article open access, and also they may not be generating their revenue of subscription from the research paper which are published under their journals. Hence, the journal would charge minimal or an exorbitant APC, which is usually borne by the concerned researcher itself. I hope all of you know about article processing charges. There are few journals will say it's a publication fee. There are a few journals will say article processing fee. Most of the predatory journal also will be saying a publication fee or article processing fee. So you'll have to be very, very clear. If a particular journal is charging you a very minimal article processing charge or a publication fee, you can be very sure that such journal can be considered as a predatory journal if you verify various information. Usually, like according to my experiences, like reputed journals which are under Elsevier or Emerald, if you want to make your research paper as a open access, they will be charging you somewhere around 50,000, 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh rupees. So all of you should know about this particular terminology, which is called as article processing charge. And the third terminology is with regards to accepted version, the final author created version that incorporates referee comments. Referee here, it refers to peer reviewer who actually like are the subject matter experts who would have gone through your research work, critically evaluated in order to check for its quality, and it is accepted for publication version, also known as author accepted manuscript or author accepted version or final author version or postscript. What happens when you're submitting a particular research paper to your journal? First, they will be sending for two peer reviewer. The two peer reviewer will come back with their comments, whether to recommend the paper for considering the publication in the journal or to reject that paper. Based on the recommendation of the peer reviewer, the editor will take a call whether a particular paper should be accepted or to be rejected. There are sometimes the reviewers will come out with a list of comments 1, 2, 3, 4, and you are expected to make the revisions. After you make the revisions, again it will go back to the peer reviewer who have actually reviewed your paper, and if they find your revision is satisfactory and they provide the instructions or they provide the directions to the editor mentioning that so-and-so manuscript can be accepted. After the manuscript is accepted, the journal would communicate to you stating that your manuscript has been accepted in this version, and they will ask you for a final confirmation. Once you are giving them the confirmation, yes, I am agreeing with the accepted version as it is, then it is called as accepted version. I hope all of you have understood the concept of accepted version. And also, you need to know about the fourth terminology, which is called as any website or a repository, including author's homepage or institutional repository. For example, if Sudhakar is having a particular website, I can have my research paper published in a particular journal, provided a journal provides me the permission that I can have this publication in my website homepage. I can have that publication. And for example, if we take a Garden City University, if the journal is actually giving a permission, I can able to have the full access of the research paper, which can be updated in our Garden City University website institutional repository. So apart from the author having an option of accessing the research paper from the journal under a particular publisher, they also can check whether they can able to access the paper from your homepage, or they can able to check whether it is possible to access the research paper published under the institutional repository. I hope that terminology is very much clear. And then you need to know about terminology, which is called as associated publisher, an organization that is associated with the journal, for example, and an academic society. Let me give you one example. There is an institution called as a Dr. NTR Medical Sciences in Andhra Pradesh, and they have a journal called as the Dr. NTR Journal. Here, there will be a publisher and there will be an organization which is associated. For example, if you take Garden City University, we have different type of departmental level journal. For example, we have Ripple's Journal, which is published by the Department of Hospitality Management and Catering Technology, and the publisher of this particular journal is Garden City University. So associated publishers are basically an organization which is associated with the journal, usually in an academic society. Author's homepage is basically our personal homepage where we will have details about various research publications which we have done. There are sometimes we will have an access to the readers to view, download the complete paper, or sometimes we will be just providing the details of the paper which is published on a particular journal. And we have a terminology called as Creative Commons. It is completely related to the copyright, a collection of open licenses which are available based on Creative Commons licenses. And I'm sure all of you would know about the terminology which is called as DOI, Digital Object Identifier. For every publication, there is a DOI number. Based on this DOI number, in a click of button, you can exactly locate a particular paper published by a particular publisher and a journal of that publisher easily. That's basically a unique number which is allotted for all the publication. Again, here, if a particular journal is publishing a paper without a DOI number, you can consider such journal to be a predatory journal. It's very important since the research is happening across the globe. There are different researchers are there. There are different research publications are there. It's very important that the DOI number is assigned so that people can just use this unique number and just search in the internet. They're able to identify the paper easily. Other terminologies which are given under Sherpa and Romeo is funded designated repository, a repository required by the funding agency. For example, if I've conducted a project which is funded by Karnataka State Council of Science and Technology, after the project is completed, I may be publishing a research paper in a particular journal. The Karnataka State Council of Science and Technology also may be saying that I need to have a copy of such publication which will be there in their repository. That is called as funded designated repository, where a copy of the paper or the details of the paper which was done by a particular author is provided. And then you have institutional repository. For example, Garden City University maintains a repository where all the research publications of the students, the faculty members, and the scholars are maintained. Usually, it is basically a database on various research which was done by the stakeholders of a particular institution. And you have institutional website, a website that author institution that is not the institutional repository that's considered to be having some of the information related to the publication done by the scholar, including the full publication. And you've got a journal website. It's very easy, like where you have a publisher. Under the publisher, you have your journal. Another journal, your article is usually published, where people can select the DOI number. The moment they select the DOI number and search, it directly take you to the journal where your publication was done. That is called as journal website. Non-commercial institutional repository, basically not for a profit content and reuse. Typically, an institutional repository will be a non-commercial institutional repository where people will not be having any kind of charges required in order to access the publication which are available in the non-commercial institutional repository. And also you should know the terminology which is called as non-commercial repository, a repository that is only used for not for profit content and reuse. All right, there is something called as OEA fee, which is called as an open access fee. In case if you want to make your research paper published in a particular journal, there will be a open access fee which is charged for the author. Usually the author takes care of it. And the other terminology which you like to know about will be open access journal, a journal which is actually publishing all the research paper under open access, where anyone across the globe can able to access without any kind of restriction with regards to the user ID password or any kind of payment. That is called as open access journal. And there is a terminology called as pathway, yeah, way in which a document can become open access. Your policy is made up of multiple pathways that represents the permission that the policy grants. Usually, the pathway provides details about the open access policy, whether a particular person can able to access only from the journal or whether it can be accessed from the multiple sources. In addition to that, we also have other terminology which is called as a printer repository. A repository that primarily contains article prior to peer review. For example, when you are submitting a particular paper to a particular journal, the first copy of the publication usually kept in the preprint repository. Such papers are usually not peer reviewed or not undergone any peer review process. You have something called as published version. Once the peer review is over, once you give them the acknowledgement that the articles can be gone ahead for publication. Once you sign the copyright, then it comes to a stage called as final published version or version of record. This will be the final version which will be available in the journal or other places. After an article is published, there should not be any further changes which is happening with regards to the published version. In addition to that, I'm sure all of you would know about publisher. Publisher are someone who are the main people who actually have several journals and who decide what could be considered as open access journal, what could be the closed access journals. For example, the publishers like Elsevier or Emerald or Sage or Taylor's, they are all called as publishers. Under the publisher, they may be having different disciplines, and under the disciplines, you will have different kind of journals. And also you have got subject repository, a repository that contains articles within their preset subject field. For example, only the research paper which are published under medicine will be under the subject repository. Under management will be in another repository. Under social sciences, for example, psychology will be in a separate repository. And you also have terminology called as a submitted version, the version that has been submitted to a journal for peer review, also known as author's original manuscript, that is before even the peer review starts. For example, as we discussed about preprint repository, that is called as AOM, which is author's original manuscript, which you have submitted to the journal once your research is completed, and it's otherwise called as original manuscript or preprint. All right, these are the terminologies which you are supposed to use while accessing Sherpa and Romeo platform in order to understand how these policies are maintained by a particular journal. So in one single place itself, you'll come to know whether the paper what is available in your journal includes before peer review, after peer review, accepted version, whether it's an open access or whether it's a closed access. And also you will come to know where are the places where the research publications are available in the online platform. I hope all of you have understood the concept of Sherpa and Romeo. Let us come to the second unit of this presentation, which is the research publication accessibility. As I mentioned earlier, every research area, it's not restricted to a particular geographical location itself. You have researchers across the globe who are taking up different topics on different fields. So it's very important for the researchers to have a platform where they will be able to understand what are the various research are happening, who are the researchers who are involved in, what are the topics which was conducted, and who are the experts available. So this particular platform, for example, JANE, which is abbreviated as Journal and Author Name Estimator. If you go to this platform, you can able to easily locate the journals, and also you'll able to locate the authors, and also you'll able to find the articles. So whenever you want to know what are the various journals which are publishing a paper related to your research area, you can go to JANE and identify. It is not restricted only to your particular publisher or a journal. You will be able to have different types of journals. And also, if you're someone who is thinking that no, I do not have an idea, I have this particular title of the paper and I have this abstract. What you'll have to do is you'll have to go to the JANE platform. I already have given you all the link here. You can just copy and paste the title and the abstract, that immediately will search of various journals and the publishers who are actually publishing papers related to your topic or related to your research. So this is one of the beautiful platform where you will able to identify relevant articles which you like to do for the review of literature. You'll able to identify other researchers who are working in your area. You'll able to identify the journal titles which are actually publishing the paper related to your research area, and also you'll able to know the experts you are available. In addition, this Gen platform can also be used to find reviewers for your particular research paper which is published by a particular journal. If you look at your Gen relies on the data in PubMed, which can contain paper from a predatory journal also, and therefore this journal can appear in Gen results. To help to identify high quality journals, Gen is actually considering the journals which are indexed in Medline, open access journals approved by directory of open access journals. You remember in the last class we discussed about different types of indexing. If you like to go back and see that video, you'll be able to understand. Once the indexing is done, you will be able to know the quality of the paper which are published by a particular journal. You will be able to know the quality of the publication process of a journal. So if any journal is indexed, for example, under Scopus or Web of Science, you will be able to know the complete quality. So based on that, you will be able to determine whether to choose a paper or not to choose a paper, whether a paper is a predatory paper or not a predatory paper. All right. So with regards to the research publication accessibility, all of you should use this platform, which is called as JANE, which is a journal author name estimator. The second platform which is available, this is exclusively for the journals which are under Elsevier is the publisher. For all the journals which are published by Elsevier, you will have this platform. You can go to the link journalfinder.elsevier.com, and the moment you go to this platform, if you are entering a specific paper title or the abstract of the paper, you will be able to identify the journals which are actually published a paper, or you can able to locate a particular paper which are published by a particular journal under Elsevier. As you all know that Elsevier has a lot of disciplines. With regards to the publication is concerned, they have different disciplines and also they have different journals. So it is practically not possible for us to go journal after the other, and to see whether you have any kind of relevant publication where you can able to view, download, and use it in a research. So this Elsevier Journal Finder will help the authors and the researchers to easily identify an appropriate journal or an appropriate paper which has been published under Elsevier publisher. The other research publication accessibility option what you have is Springer. Elsevier, you have the title is Elsevier Journal Finder, whereas the Springer is Springer Journal Suggester. Any of the research paper which are published in different types of journals which are under Springer can be located using this suggester. All you have to do is you will have to enter your manuscript title. You will have to give some of the other information related to the manuscript and select the search area. The moment you select the search area based on the search engine optimization, you will be able to identify the relevant research publication across 2,500 journals which are there under Springer alone. Just imagine, is it practically possible for anyone to access all the 2,500 journals by going after one after the other? That is where the concept of suggested comes in one single place. Using some of the keywords or using some of the text, you will be able to identify the relevant research publications which are there under a particular publisher. In addition to that, if you look at Emerald also is a publisher. They have a concept called as Find a Journal. Emerald has a lot of journals which are published under Emerald Publishing. The moment you are entering a journal name or an ISS number, and you have other search options also, you'll be able to identify various journals which are published under Emerald publication. Apart from this, you also have other research publication accessibility. For example, you have JSTOR Labs text analyzer. If you go in, if you are giving a search keyword or a text, you will be able to identify various publications which are there under JSTOR. Again, I mentioned about Springer Journal Suggester, and you have even for a Whaley journal finder. Whaley is one of the leading publisher who has a different journals published under this particular publisher. So you can able to go under this journal finder or a suggester or a recommender and try to identify the research paper. Most of the times what happens is the researchers are restricting their literature review only with the available research journals or the research articles which is coming in the Google search. That is not the right way to do it. What you all have to do is you will have to know who are the leading publishers are there in your particular area of research. What are the various journals are there? In case if you do not know that also, it is fine. You can use just the publisher, and then you can go for the journal finder or the suggester and enter the list of keywords or the text you have. So you'll be able to make a note of various journals which are coming up. From the journal also, again, you can able to give a search word to identify which are the papers which are published recently, which were the papers which was published in the past. You also able to select some of the papers which are exactly matching to your area. So as a researcher, you should not be restricting your review of literature only with the research paper which are easily available either in the Google search or in, for example, Google Scholar. You have to supposed to systematically go about identifying all the relevant papers which are available in the leading publishers and ensure that those papers are actually considered by you for conducting the review of literature, which will help you to have a thorough knowledge on what was happened in the past, what were the various research conducted, what are the limitations. Basing that, you will be able to propose your research gap and your research model. If you fail to do that, you may be thinking that, yes, I've done an excellent review of literature, but probably you would have missed out the critical literature when it goes for a peer reviewer. The peer reviewer who is the subject matter expert, they would be knowing that you have eliminated critical reviews. Or sometimes what happens is, like, because of the lack of knowledge, you might have done some study which you think it is novel, but in reality, like someone else would have done the study. Again, your study also may not be having the required novelty when it comes to the research publication is concerned. I hope this particular session to understand about open access publication and the research publication accessibility is quite useful. If you have any questions related to this topic, do comment in this video. I'll be happy to clarify the same. With this, happy learning. Dr. Sudhakar signing off. Bye-bye.